When individuals think or talk about identity, the impression is that it is as simple as having an ID card with the individual's name and sometimes a photograph on it. In Nigeria today, there are all sorts of representation of an individual's identity. There is the international passport, the driver's license, the voter's card, and the national identity card, all of which involve biometrics and data collection from individuals without connection to a national identity database. The path towards creating a national database for identity management of Nigerians began with the enactment of a law, which brought into existence the Department of National Civic Registration, DNCR, in 1978. The DNCR was assigned the duty of enrolling and issuing a national identity card to every citizen of Nigeria of 18 years and above. Government's main target then was to put in place a system of national identity card issuance with the hope that it would solve the problem of true identity, serve as a means of controlling illegal immigration, and also help in authenticating other civic documents like the driver's license, travel passports, and others. That vision was unfortunately not realized.
The importance of a single database cannot be overemphasized. One, we need to plan. For planning purposes, the way population, is increasing, we need to have a database to plan for commensurate, facilities.
In 2005, the government set up a harmonization committee to advise it on how different public and private sector activities on identification systems can be harmonized. The committee, among other things, proposed a national policy and institutional framework for a national identity management system for the country. The strategy incorporated the formation of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, as the primary legal, institutional, supervisory, and administrative structure to drive the reform initiative in the identity sector. Experts say an effective national identity management system is critical to the development of any economy, as it provides a universal identification infrastructure that enables access and means to confirming the identity of individuals residing in a country.
When you say a beautiful intention but poor execution of it, and it's making a whole mess of the exercise. Usually, especially when we are at the peak of fighting insecurity everywhere, the only way we can also address this issue is if all Nigerians are properly documented with individual identities. But government needs to wake up, raise its game, be able to ordinarily, this should not be something you say, we are giving you 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get registered, to get a national identity number. What is supposed to be an ongoing process.
The main argument for a comprehensive national identity management system is on the issue of proper economic planning. There is also the question of its use in adequate intelligence gathering and security.
If not the fact that the federal government come up with a policy that if you don't link your NIN number with your phone number, many Nigerians did not even see identity management as something serious. Whereas it's a criminal offense in some country. It's an offense, rather, in some country if you don't have an NIN number. How do they want to trace you? If you commit crime, how do they want to know where you are? In abroad, if you break traffic lights, those traffic lights, they link your identity number with your plate number, with everywhere you walk, with the place you are staying. That's your house. The moment you break, the moment it reflects, it brings out everything about you. Because wherever you have your NIN, they will have where you stay, where you are born, where you move, where you move. In fact, it should even be extended to the fact that when you move from here to another place,
In recognition of these benefits and more, the National Identity Management Commission was established in Nigeria in 2007, pursuant to the NIMC Act, to create, manage, maintain, and operate a unified national identity database for the country. To this end, the NIMC, which replaced the defunct Department of National Civic Registration, is required to carry out the registration of all registrable persons in Nigeria and thereafter issue a general multi-purpose identity card known as the National Identity Card. The NIMC Act specified registrable persons as any person who is a citizen of Nigeria, any person who is lawfully and permanently resident in Nigeria, whether or not he is a citizen of Nigeria, and any non-citizen of Nigeria who is lawfully resident in Nigeria for a period of 2 years or more.
It's biometric, so it's not going to, you get, oh, you have 10, I have 5 or whatever. It's going to be you and you alone because it's going to be individual and particular to you. So we want to watch everybody. It's important for us to get on the national identity card. If you see serious countries all over the world, you don't get anything done without your national identity number. America, China, all this, you can't get anything done except your name is there on the base.
The information to be obtained from registrable persons and stored in the National Identity Database are full names, other names by which the person is or has been known, date of birth, place of birth, gender, address of the person's principal place of residence in Nigeria, address of every other place in Nigeria where the person has a place of residence, passport photograph, signature, fingerprints, and other biometric information of the person.
It is not for the benefit of NIMC staff, but it's for the benefits of the citizens themselves, so that government will protect them, so that government will be able to plan properly. And also it is resilient in the sense that it will always rear its head to come out, so that and it's foundational. It is the foundation of the society, foundation of the economy. Like one of our elders says that in fact it is the heart and also veins or arteries of the Nigerian economy. So it is very, very important, and all other nations to have it. It's only in Nigeria that we don't have a comprehensive database. Rather, we have so many silos, and we need all these silos to now start talking to each other.
For decades, the country has operated without a unified identification system, making it harder and more complicated for people to access basic services. Since the problem has existed for so long, experts say it has become even more challenging to fix it.
I can just say it's better late than never. But sincerely speaking, Nigeria is far, far long overdue for this thing. There is, as a trade economist, there's no way you can have a proper developmental plan without knowing the number, when you don't know the number of people you have in your country. And identity management, the core function of identity management is first of all, recognize who are your citizens. As at the time you want to take a census, who are they? So even if you do the proper identity management, you spend less on census because you will know the level you are. Identity management does to have started right from the day when each and every citizen are born in Nigeria. The moment you are born, you give you your NIN number. But we started late. It's better than we are not starting anything at all.
It's for NIMC to work extra hard to make sure the registration points are taken far into our local populace, into our remote areas, into areas that may seem to be inaccessible. There are several ways, of doing it. Some even in the country now, you find some dark spots where the telecommunication companies did not cover. There could be some few all around. NIMSI could deploy, and use and collaborate with NIGCOMSAT, Then NIGCOMSAT can provide internet service to every part, not only in Nigeria, all over, using the satellite technology.
To begin with, many Nigerians do not understand why they are being bothered with having to go and register for a national identity number, even if the government says it is the proper identification documentation, when previous attempts to provide a trusted identification system has led to duplication of efforts.
The Nigerian Immigration Service had been having a database for passport holders, but that one, of course, is very limited. Not everybody has passports, and many of our people in the villages do not need passports to go anywhere. So if we rely on Nigerian Immigration Service, that one will be inconclusive and it will not be enough. If we go to the Federal Road Safety Corps too, we'll find out that it's just not there. Not everybody drives, not everybody requires a license to drive, so that one will still be insufficient. Take VIOs is the same thing. And of course, our National Population Commission that is supposed to register people, that too has not been able to reach the required mark of getting us to a central database. So we need to harmonize all this, bring all these areas and the National Population Commission to sit down together with these individual sources and bring out a position that will take everybody as much as possible. This cannot be done in a day. It cannot be done maybe very shortly, but it has to be patiently and gradually processed to be able to get a complete national database.
The national identity card, issued upon completion of the registration process, is expected to bear a unique national identification number, which is assigned by the NIMSI to each registered person in the National Identity Database. At present, that is not the case.
Usually, if a man gets to a point where he has a driver's license, that's enough to take. But I think the most uniform one to work with should be the NIN, the National Identity Card Number. Why? Because for the driver's license, you have to be 18 years and above to get it. That means you will not really be captured with your NIN until you are that age. So the NIN is the best. But once you get that, then we should not be bothered with going to other places to duplicate this thing. But again, you can see the process of getting it. Some people registered, did it properly, and on their receipts, on what do they call it now? On their card, you find that the NIN is not even there. I have that situation, so I have to use my phone to call for my NIN. It's not on the card. That's ridiculous. How do you do that?
National identification number is a private number issued to a person. In fact, it is printed only on the name slip. It is not even printed on the card because it is a privacy thing. It's private to the individual. Therefore, citizens should guard this NIN. They should only give their NIN when they go to a government office or a private company and they ask for service. That is the only place that they can issue their own NIN. And therefore, even if there's a problem, there's a way to trace that NIN. So NIN is private thing. So if someone sells or he was lured to now issue the NIN to carry out some nefarious activities, they may not be successful because there are the NIN is tied to the biometrics of an individual, and that is what makes it unique.
A transaction slip is first issued to a registered person pending release of the national identity card. The NIN slip serves as evidence of registration and bears the unique NIN of registered persons. Some have asked If the name slip can be used as a means of identification since it carries the national identity number, when the national ID card does not.
It's only the NIN that is by law that can be used for identification. So that is why it is required that we link all the SIM with the NIN. And by law, that sets up NIMSI by a particular time that NIMSI comes up with regulations, then we are required to abide by those regulations. And those regulations came out since 2015 and also 2017. So we are just implementing what has been there as law. And also, as you know, we also have other challenges to do with kidnapping, banditry, and other security challenges. And those are the things that the Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy mentioned. And also, the NIN is the foundation of even the digital economy. So it's very, very important that we do it.
The three alternatives to a generally accepted identification card are the voter's card and the national identity card. The National Identity Management Commission has in the past had some trouble issuing cards to millions of people who have registered, and with the stipulation of an expiry date and renewal with cost implications, Nigerians are all the more disgruntled by the whole process.
On the same card, it tells you of expiry date. I do not see any sense in it. The Nigerian citizen should be paying for revalidating his ID. Why should it expire? You don't have to look for every means to rip off the citizens by tasking them that much.
Government is the father of the nation. They are supposed to provide for us. So it should be their duty to make provision for it. Even if it expires, let it be the responsibility of government to bankroll the cost of renewal. So the moment they don't ask us to bring 1 naira, let them, if they lie, let them say it expires every day.
It's only that because here we are used to government giving everything free. You understand? So government have decided way back in 2012 that first issuance is free, okay? And it is only for 16 and above. And subsequent issuance will attract a fee of only the card to make it sustainable, okay? And it is not only in Nigeria. Go to Liberia close by here, or Uganda, or Egypt, or Turkey. All these countries are similar to us and people pay.
There are no age restrictions for registration and possession of the national identity card. Any person born in Nigeria since the introduction of the NIN is required to be registered within 60 days of his or her birth, or at any time after birth, not exceeding 180 days or any other period as the NIMC may specify from time to time by regulation. For Nigerian citizens born outside the country, the NIMC Act does not specify a time frame within which they are to register and obtain the NIN. But it should be noted that registration is also compulsory for this class.
The way that the system is supposed to work is that as soon as someone is born in the hospital, then the person will be given birth certificate by the Population Commission, and then that information will be sent electronically to NIMSI, and NIMSI will generate the NIN and send back to the child while the child is in the hospital. From that time, if the child wants to travel, then the child will produce the birth certificate and also the NIN to obtain an international passport. If the child is getting to school, the child will also provide birth certificate and also the NIN, so that government will start tracking and knowing how many people are in school to be able to plan, and both private and public sector will be able to work harmoniously.
Following federal government's resolve to put in place a formidable identity management system, the Federal Executive Council meeting of September 12, 2018, approved the immediate commencement of the implementation of a strategic roadmap for digital identity ecosystem in Nigeria, necessitating full compliance with the NIN mandatory use regulations. The NIMC then issued a public notice specifying January 1st, 2019 as the FGN-approved commencement date for the enforcement of the NIN mandatory use regulations and the consequent application of appropriate sanctions and penalties for non-compliance. Now, this means that all registrable persons are required to provide their NIN to be able to carry out transactions that the NIMC may determine by regulation as from January 1st, 2019.
Of course, it took us small time. We should have done this in a long time ago. There are so many problems. The infrastructure is not there, but government is addressing it. For example, with proper infrastructure, people doesn't have to go and queue, particularly in this pandemic time. People who have just used the infrastructures, the IT facilities, register from wherever they are. I'm happy. I learned that NIMC is going online. That will allow people to actually go and do whatever they want to do without necessarily following a queue.
How can Nigerians, whether in rural and remote locations, who either do not fall into any of these categories or care about this policy, be persuaded to be included in the database?
Our data now for population is always estimation, So with this now we can know exactly how many we are and where do we need to put priorities, where do we need to plan for this and that and so on. And that is how the developed nations actually went ahead.
The National Identity Management Commission says Nigerians must complete their national identification number registration, even if their bank verification number has generated a NIN for them. NIMC argues that NIN generated by the BVN can only be used after it has been updated at the NIMC Enrollment Center.
We need to replace BVN with a NI number. The reason is very clear. BVN is a bank policy, CBN policy, while national identification number is a law. It has been established by law. So the strength of the law, wherever you go, is not the same with a policy of only one institution. Secondly, BVN is applicable only to those who have bank account, but national identity number is for each and every citizen and legal resident in the country. Thirdly, BVN is a secondary database, while national identification number and the database is the primary one in the country that each and every institution should make reference to NIMC.
In August 2020, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Ali Pantami, hinted that government is looking to digitize the whole process, that is, moving past the problems with the plastic card process by focusing on digital identity cards.
We are in 21st century. That is why we are focusing on the digital ID, which is the NIN. So you don't really need the card. The card is optional. So we will focus on the NIN. Just make sure that we focus and give the NIN to everyone else. Card is optional. Or if we have reached a point whereby also that we are buoyant enough, government is buoyant enough to give card free of charge to everyone, then so be it. But right now it's not sustainable.
While critics argue that a system that cannot manage the process of printing cards will hardly be competent at managing the complexities that come with maintaining millions of digital identities, the question whether a digitized process can solve systemic and operational problems still stands.
The level of our security in all our databases is 99.9% today, or at least minimum 99%. There is no database that is 100% secured. The highest you can go, I think we are there with all sense of humility. That is why we don't have any complaint, and we came up with Nigeria Data Protection Regulation that we always enforce, and this is applicable to the database at our disposal. We take care of it, we make sure that the security is excellent, and we don't allow anyone to compromise the content because it is a trust for our citizens given to us.